Welcome.
You are watching Line Screw 1.
Though Buffy Sainte-Marie is in her 80s, she continues to be celebrated as a voice for Indigenous people.
Stop cultural appropriation today.
She has said she was adopted as a baby by an American couple, Albert and Winifred Sainte-Marie, who raised her in Massachusetts.
Our culture is not your costume.
She has won multiple awards reserved for Indigenous musicians and is considered to be the first Indigenous person to have won an Oscar.
Well, hello tubers, hope you're doing well wherever you are in this crazy YouTube universe. Today we're going to talk about something that just annoys the hell out of me, and I'm sure it annoys the hell out of a lot of other people. And it's the absolute fakery that we have in pop culture, modern culture. People, people of group X pretending to be group Y. I guess that happens in all sorts of areas. Sometimes it's politics, sometimes it's gender, if you know what I'm saying. Sometimes it's music even. And a little bit of background here. I was out on Friday night with a bunch of my colleagues and managed to get home early enough to catch the Fifth Estate. That's a CBC program. CBC doesn't have too many programs worth watching anymore other than maybe hockey and Dragon's Den and, Marketplace maybe. But I was wondering why in my news feed a lot of Buffy Sainte-Marie stuff was coming up. And I go, gee, what's up with her? She's kind of a fellow Canadian that's been around forever. She's older than I am. And got a lot bigger of attention here in Canada than she did in the United States, even though she is actually an American. And I watched the program and I was like, holy crap, wow. Another icon burns in flames.
She's clearly born in the United States. She's clearly not Indigenous or Native American.
And it comes down to this, because you guys have encountered this before and you'll probably keep encountering it, where people pretend to be something that they're not to get ahead. People do it in sports, people do it in politics, like I said, and the biggest piss off to me is that how it really affects the First Nations people, and how Buffy Sainte-Marie was a role model for them, and to find out that everything was fake. It's just outrageous. Now, a little bit of background, because some of you may not be aware about Buffy Sainte-Marie or who she is. Believe it or not, she actually won an Academy Award for Original Soundtrack Song from Officer and Gentleman in '83. She was a co-writer of that song, Up Where We Belong. I'm sure all of you older folks remember that song. It was sung by Joe Cocker and Jennifer Warnes, if memory serves me correctly. And she's also a member of the Order of Canada. If you are a Canadian and you make a large contribution to society, whether science, engineering, medicine, or the arts, you may someday get awarded the Order of Canada. Now, I'm thinking they should pull this award from her now. We're going to get to why that is. Well, all these years, if you grew up in Canada, and maybe even in the U.S., because people did know who she was. Even Buffy Sainte-Marie appeared on Sesame Street. And she was a role model for First Nation, Indigenous people. You Americans call them American Indians. We don't use those terms, at least here in Canada, not anymore. We call them Indigenous or First Nations people. And she truly did have a good reputation and was a strong advocate. No different than Johnny Cash, who I've actually seen in person, the late Johnny Cash. He did a lot of work to advocate and to help the plight of the Native Americans, and even Canadians, I would imagine, because really borders didn't exist when they lived on this land before us Europeans came. So Johnny Cash did a lot of good for them, just like Buffy Sainte-Marie. The difference was Johnny Cash did not ever pretend to be First Nation. He never did. We all know Johnny Cash's background, and he is not, at least not full-blooded. He may, like many of us, perhaps we may be what's called Métis, mixed blood. Could be the case, but Johnny never pretended to be a full-blooded Native American, because that just wasn't the case. And Johnny knew that lying is not a good thing for your career. But a lot of people think a shortcut for fame and fortune, or to make a few bucks, is to pretend that you are somebody you are not. Now, that was a lot easier to do in the old days before the internet and before, the whole world was so plugged in, and things were much easier to prove. Well, it turns out Buffy Sainte-Marie was born in the US of A in Massachusetts. And I've even seen her actual birth certificate. They were issued sequentially, so there's no chance it's fake. She was born to European parents. And as we know, like I have many people of European ancestry, some of them are darker skinned, and because of the complexion and maybe their hair color and their physical appearances, they could almost be thought of visually to look like they are First Nation or Indigenous. Yes, just like there's probably a few people that are of Asian descent that may pass as Inuit, or as you Americans say, Eskimo. We don't use that term up here.
I can say absolutely with 100% certainty that this is the original birth certificate. She was not born in Canada.
But Buffy Sainte-Marie, a complete fakery, and what a shame, because she truly was one of the best and highest profile role models that the First Nations people had here in Canada. And now there's the big quandary of, well, what do we do next? I noticed the left is often silent on these issues, and they are silent now because they're afraid. They're afraid of actually seeing the reality of the truth. And normally when you see somebody do cultural appropriation, the left is normally quick to jump on that. Well, today they're kind of divided on the issue, let's just say. But pretty clear issue for me, if anybody who knows about the story. Born to European parents in Massachusetts, and where it gets really ugly and worse is in the 70s, her brother, who actually served in the military, and there's actually military documents of how her brother even listed his sibling on his military records. Well, he was threatening to out her once she got kind of popular in playing the native card, so to speak, as the term is called, pretendian, hence the title of this video. He threatened to expose her. So what did she do? She got a law firm in Los Angeles, the same law firm that the Rolling Stones use, to scare him by saying, hey, I'm going to out you as you've done some inappropriate things to me in a sexual manner if you don't keep your mouth shut. I mean, that's like, wow. Now, he's dead now, so he can't get sued, and the cat is out of the bag. And that was quite a dirt move that she did to silence her, the one person that could actually prove the fact that she was not actually Native American in any regard.
She says Sainte-Marie's story follows what has become a familiar pattern in Canada.
Buffy's a good musician and she writes beautiful songs and she's done some amazing things. Did she have to do it in red face? That's the question, and I would argue that she didn't have to. She chose to do that.
What a douchey move. And I feel so bad, and I have a lot of respect for the First Nation people. I've personally known a lot of them that are fine, wonderful human beings. And they've got a lot of skill sets for the outdoors that I could learn a lot from, and have learned some things from. The fact that Buffy Sainte-Marie, actually let's put it this way, the fact that Buffy Sainte-Marie has now robbed them of a good role model, which she was, is shameful. Because I can imagine there's a lot of people here with mixed feelings, because her contribution to the advocacy of the First Nations people, that's clearly positive. I get it. I can't say anything bad about her work in that field. Same with her work in the music. It was what it was. She did it without regard to a person's ethnicity. If I like music, I don't care what ethnicity you are. Music is music, and it transcends gender lines and cultural lines quite often. Heck, I even listen to music from languages that I don't speak, and if I like it, I like it. So I'm not going to take that away from Buffy Sainte-Marie, but the reality is, what the hell is she going to do? She's been doing damage control over this and trying to play it's colonialism and how dare them do this. It's a bunch of crap. Now that millions of us have actually seen copies of the birth certificate and seen how she tried to stifle anybody that would speak up against the truth that she truly was born to European parents in Massachusetts, it's wrong. Now, she was adopted spiritually by a tribe, I believe the Piapot Nation in Saskatchewan. And that is fine. I've seen many people who are of European ancestry that have been welcomed and accepted because of their work and contribution to their nation. And that is up to them, that they've accepted her, and she's kind of considered a member of the tribe. But that does not negate what she did. She's not First Nation. She is European. And for her to keep lying and trying to double down on the nonsense is ridiculous. And who's she going to sue millions of people now that the truth is out? Try to intimidate everybody into shutting up? Now, she is now retired. She's in her early 80s. And it's going to be a shame, Buffy, that you're going to your grave, because I'm sure you or one of your lawyers are going to watch this video. You're going to go to your grave with this shame. And the only way to redeem yourself is to say, you know what, I played that card, I was wrong, I culturally appropriated these people, and it was shameful, and I did it to get ahead for my career, or whatever reason that you decide to explain your actions away to the rest of us. But it's absolutely ridiculous, and it's a sign of the times where people that do this they're going to get caught. It's like stolen valor. It's like people pretending to be gender X but competing as gender Y just to get ahead because they can do better. It goes in so many areas, even politicians. So I think it's ridiculous, and Buffy owes the world, and especially the First Nation people of North America, an apology for what she did. She can still advocate for these people. She can still try to be a good role model and do good works for them. There's nothing stopping her from doing that. It's not stopping anybody from doing that. But the fact that she did this and tried to bury it and hide it through threats of lawsuits, it's shameful, and the only way that the healing can begin for all of us is for her to apologize.
Which I've always been honest about. I don't know where I'm from, who my birth parents are.
Jeff, we just heard Buffy Sainte-Marie saying that she doesn't know where she's from. Is that a change in her story?
Yeah, well, it certainly does contradict things that she's said in the past, and I'll give you one example. In 1971, she wrote the Buffy Sainte-Marie songbook. She wrote it, she illustrated it, and in that book, she wrote that she was born on the Piapot First Nation in Saskatchewan.
I got you, I got you.